much. You actually did my job a little more easier by getting everybody to stand up. Because, this session after lunch is a sweet spot. I call it the post lunch chicken syndrome, right? Because our job is really tough. So please cooperate and be nice and engaging audience. And anyways, so I would like to start with calling it out for AdTech as a whole. I would like to greet you happy AdTech, because today when I came over here, the kind of crowd today that we have out here is crazy. 10 years back, when I used to come over here, it never used to be like this. So I'm saying happy AdTech because AdTech today is a festival for people in the advertising technology business. Just because of the great work that my friends Jaswant and Shiny has done. So congratulations on that note. So let me just start quickly by introducing the panelists. I'll start introducing, on my right, I have Neeti Kumar. She's the Chief Operating Officer of Starcom. She's a MICAN and a TEDx speaker who comes with about 2 decades of an experience in media planning, marketing, digital communication, and media investment. She's been with companies like Penguin Random, House India, Group M, and Mudra Communication. Then I have Bhavesh Talreja with me, founder and CEO of Global Media. He's based out of Dubai and has about 15 years of experience across the globe in Germany, UAE, and India with companies like Uplift, McAfee, and the Talreja Group. On the extreme right hand side, you've got Suchit Huria, I hope I pronounce it right, Director Sales India for Adjust. Adjust is a mobile attribution and an analytics company. So he's the guy on the spot today because the topic is about attribution. So please take a note of him. He comes with a very rich leadership experience of about 19 years across Tairu, Mobsi, Adara, and Densu. Then we have, last but not the least, Naren Shetty, Group President, Growth and Revenue, Value Leaf Services. He comes with 13 years of experience with Times Group, Angel Broking, Motilal Oswal, and has also co-founded Add to Click Media. So great. Let's get started. We are here to discuss the most common and the most complex problem. And the question to answer out here is who scored the goal? In an analogy from taking the analogy from a football match, because at the end of the day, whosoever is the striker is given all the credit. Is that the right thing or the wrong thing? Or should we give credit to a defender who also ensured that we won, or a midfielder? So, who should be given what credit so that we ensure that the ball is passed more to that component? So, coming to that, while there is no such thing called as perfect attribution, that's a fantasy. So you can't even, you should not even get hung up to that particular thing. So it's a very complex topic that we are discussing. Some of it that we will discuss, we will get answers today jointly. Some of it we will throw it up to you to ponder upon it, and all of us collectively at some point of time will get these answers. So great. Starting, my first question is that in this era of, we believing to be marching from living onto the internet to be living in the internet. So, today we are on the websites. Tomorrow you're going to be starting to live with AR and VR headsets inside the internet, concepts like a metaverse and all that. In all, I mean to say that we've evolved a lot. In this era, each business has its own, is very unique in terms of its challenges, its business models, number of sales channels, data available. So my question to particularly to Suchit is, what do we think are the challenges when it comes to attribution mechanisms today in this evolved ecosystem?
Thanks, Chirag. Pleasure meeting you all. I think great question, and you put it me as an opening batsman. I'll take it analogy from cricket to from football, right? I think, yeah. So I think we are in a space wherein everybody of us needs to be constantly evolving, be it any kind of role we are in the ad tech space. I think that's why we all here. If we are not evolved, I think we'll take a back seat. So we need to be, as an opening batsman, you keep on taking the swing ball. So you need to be updated, aware. Hence, I think agree that we are from the stage wherein we were living on the internet to living inside the internet has come long way, right? And with that, the attribution is also evolved, right? When I talk about myself, when the mobile ecosystem started 2014, how we were tracking installs or what kind of KPIs were brands looking at has really evolved, right? And of course, metaverse we talk about is still everybody wants to know about it, talk about it. Still, everybody is a little confused about it as well. When it talks about attribution, is still very early. I think we all as MMPs, including Adjust, are keeping a close watch how marketeers are actually looking at this as a channel to market specifically. And as if now attribution is same when it comes to metaverse, but yeah, as in when it evolves, we'll surely be coming up with more and more technologies around it, at how we can actually track metaverse technology or ad spends around metaverse in a specific model. Just to give you background how we evolved, probably not in metaverse, but there are two technologies or ad spends which have really evolved in the last couple of years. One is after the iOS 14.5, right? I think everybody wants to know, especially the marketeers want to know that how the tracking is there on the iOS space of it, though it's not very big still in India. I would say still 20-25%, but yeah, still there. So all MMPs have evolved there a lot already. We at Adjusted also launched specific dashboard specifically when to cater the SCAD network, wherein though it's all aggregated level, because Apple does not allow you to actually go out and pass the raw data when it comes to iOS. If the customer has given the permission to you to actually go out and give an access, then of course it's a normal thing like Android where you can track the GIDs, everything. But if the user has not given permission, then of course it's all at aggregated level. But yeah, from when it started in 2020 September, when iOS 14.4 launched, we were everything. The data was at a very small stage wherein we were not getting anything. It was all ballpark guessing who has given what kind of installs. From there, we have of course evolved wherein now at a marketeer can actually track various events in a swarm of various brackets. So they can track the user journey from a time to an install, to an add to cart, to a purchase. Of course, it's not actual as it comes to Android, but it's in various buckets. Then you can say that, okay, for purchase as an event, from $0 to $1, these many sales they've got. From $1 to 10, they've got so many. So there is some evolvement there. And of course, as we are talking more and more technologies, and Apple is also working, our teams are also, all our MPs are working very closely with Apple to get more and more insights so that we can pass on those facts to marketers, and then they know that, okay, how to spend on iOS. Second is connected TV. I think everybody is talking about that as well. And I'll come back to the analogy of football in this again, right? I think every player is important, right? I think Messi, we say, is a very great player, but Messi does not only score, he assists also, right? So it's very important. There's where I think connected TV plays a vital role. As if now brands are still thinking it as a pure play branding mechanism, but with tools like just wherein we've launched the CTV Ad Vision product, which actually tracks connected TV app installs, wherein if an ad is shown to a connected TV app and a user installs a connected TV app, we can track that. And if a user sees an ad on a connected TV, for example, Myntra is promoting an app on Amazon ad and showing a specific voucher. I saw an ad, do a QR code and download that Myntra app and do a purchase. We can actually go at and attribute that particular install to Myntra, which is coming from, let's say, Samsung ads. So now connected TV is also no more a pure play branding channel. It can be taken as a performance channel. So of course we have evolved. I think we keep on evolving. To answer your question, yes, at some point of time, we will live in the world inside the internet, inside apps, and we probably will be doing this kind of session inside the app, sitting out of you probably from Gurgaon, he's in Bombay, she's in Bangalore, and we'll be doing this kind of session, and we'll be able to probably attribute it to AdTech some point of time. But yeah, we're still a little far from there, but yeah, happy. I think we are evolving. Everybody needs to keep on evolving. MMPs also are evolving.
Great. Thanks for that insightful insight that you gave us. Anybody else would want to add anything to this thought? So what is the main challenge out of all the spelled out challenges that you said? Data.
I mean, when you're talking about living in the internet, so I mean, as metaverse has been already spoken about by Suchit.
I think we should, see, metaverse is still, say, 10 years down the line at this point of time. Let's talk about last 2 years and the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, so we do see a pretty much evolving trend in terms of deep linking, where Edge has been one of the prime players along with AppsFlyer, Kochava, and others. And we do see, like, it's not just about promoting the app, but the products inside the app. So deep linking has been a pretty much widely used channel for all the e-commerce platforms right now. All insurance products out there are using deep linking to a very extensive level when it comes to the apps. And we do see like social media, when an ad or product has been seen on the browser, you go into Instagram, user clicks on it, and basically like directly you can click on that and open that page in Flipkart or Amazon or whichever e-commerce app that you have. So deep linking is like almost everywhere, and it is gonna evolve at granular level now. So yeah, that's what we see, like coming up and growing exponentially as well.
One follow-up question, and this is something that I always kind of think through, because I somewhere see value in that. How many of your clients uh, accept view through attribution, view through conversion? Do they give?
I think probably I can answer this being in the attribution
Should it
space.
be right?
Yeah.
Should they do it, or should
Yeah,
if
so
they're
it
doing it, is
depends
it right,
upon-
or if they're not doing it, is that right?
So by default, I think all MMPs give a click-based attribution as the default attribution setting. But yeah, we do give option to clients that they can actually go out and change the view-through attribution at a source level. So to answer your question, yes, they give it. See, for Facebook and Google, it's by default. Even though marketers might come up and say to various partners that we're not giving it to Facebook and Google, but they can't control it because that's how the integration is with any MMP, that automatically Facebook and Google take that view-through attribution automatically. But for other partners who are not self-attributing networks per se, which is called as SANs, which is Facebook, Google, etc., there is an option to client. Programmatic companies, I see brands are actually going and giving that view-through attribution, but again, depends upon, it's a totally marketer's choice. We give it option to client. There's option is there. They want to toggle it on, they can toggle it on. The option is available. Totally is marketers. Some are giving it, some not giving it, depending on how they are spending. But programmatic, yes.
Unfortunately, I haven't come across any client or any advertiser giving weightage to view through application. But I fundamentally think it's wrong, because until unless you know the product, how will you even buy it? So it's not only the click which is, and that's what the entire game of attribution is, that it's not only that click or that last click that you're giving weightage to, but at the first go when that ad was shown or the video was shown is where the awareness would happen, and that's where the consumer has gone down the purchase funnel, right? So follow-up question to you, Neeti. What in a cookie-less world, say traditional media. So today, the lines between traditional media and digital are kind of blurring. So we've got an ADEX of about 1 lakh crore plus, out of which 40,000 crores approximately is digital and 40,000 crores is TV. So how do you attribute over there where there is no cookie, there is no ad ID? So why should, if there is a conversion or sale that has happened via a TV ad, why should a digital marketer get credit for it, saying that, okay, it's an organic conversion? Usually that happens, right? कि directly site पे आ गया और वहाँ पे conversion हो गया, मगर ad तो TV पे देखा. तो how do you solve this challenge?
So, very interesting question, and I think a really tough one. As a caveat, right, to begin with, this is always work in progress. If any client or any of the marketers actually ask, even publishers if they ask, right, so how exactly are you going to attribute it? I think the first thing is we all have to accept we don't have all the answers. And there's nothing that can give you complete full funnel omni-channel attribution. I don't think there's any such thing. So there are a few markets globally who do, single source panels, right? So it's not, it's still claimed data, right? Vis-a-vis actual attributable data. So that I think is the closest answer that I've got to attributing all of it. See, now from a advertiser or a marketer's perspective, you will never only activate one channel or one platform. It never happens that way. You've at least got multiples running, right? And the whole COVID period where digital really kind of came to its own, it evolved, whether it's in terms of a performance medium or in terms even from a branding perspective, it gave like really TV a good run for its money for a change, right? So these questions actually came up. Even advertisers earlier who didn't want anything out of branding or things like TV now want it attributed back somewhere. Ki tell me, if I do a TV campaign, then how will my clicks go up? How will my website traffic go up? So the good thing is that we are getting these questions, right? Which is, I think, forcing all of us to think. One of the things that we've done at Starcom is, it's again not a perfect answer. Remember my pehle wala caveat. Yeah. The thing is, we do a modeling called poem modeling, which is paid, owned, earned media modeling. So it's done post facto, and you can pick up learnings from that. It can go down to a channel level. So you can actually attribute that. Okay, when I switch on television, I can expect so much increment in terms of app downloads, or in terms of traffic on website, or even sometimes sales on my D2C site and so on, right? So that's actually the closest answer that we've got. But is the model kind of working perfectly? No. And should the digital planner get credit for the organic traffic going up? No. I think I'm very clear on that. I think everyone needs it, it's become more and more integrated. So I mean, if you share the brickbats, then you share the credit also.
So what do you mean is we go back to the conventional way of कि इतना पैसा खर्चा किया इतना offtake बढ़ा.
No,
Right?
not only
So the
that.
surrogate-
कि कहाँ पैसा खर्च किया और उससे कितना offtake बढ़ा. So depending on the objective, it would get tweaked. But yeah, it's a traditional model. Yeah.
I'll like to just jump in there to assist you in answers to your media planners. So I think over a period of time, MMPs always had something called multi-touch attribution, wherein just to give an example, if I as a user interacted with 10 different ads, but install the app via the 10th ad, we will of course attribute the install to the 10th click. But via multi-touch attribution in the raw data, which is passed to clients, they can actually see which were the other 9 interactions. Now, what we have done is we've also put this across as a dashboard called assists, which we have taken an analogy from football, wherein we see that, okay, we can actually, all these channels, even though, for example, connected TV, wherein you show an ad on TV, but the user didn't install at that point of time, he'd actually install the app organically. Hence, the planner would not get an install. But in assist as a channel, you can actually still get that attribution, wherein we'll show till creative level, you can actually check that, okay, if I XYZ creative actually assisted in how many installs. So it can then be tracked. So your media planners can be saved, right? It's no more there. It's already available. I think we just launched it and it's a fantastic tool. Sorry to be a little pushy on it, but it's available. Just want to
So
tell
let
you.
me bring in Narin out here. With the adoption of connected TV, does this equation change now?
I guess yes, to an extent, it will get changed. But yeah, like, so if we have MMPs like Edges who are planning to attribute, I mean, give that kind of data, give that kind of information. Marketers front, it's it's very useful, right? How to track what needs to be done, what kind of campaign marketing strategies need to be implemented. So end of the day, it depends on the MMP platforms and on the tracking platforms available to help marketers as us. Now, ValueLive being an performance marketing agency, right? So we actually are more into data. So we see what kind of data is available, what kind of information has been passed by the client, by the MMPs, so that we can plan it accordingly. So that is there.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Connected TV is one part, right? It's still relatively smaller in terms of the, let's say I compare to linear TV, right? Although, I mean, it's unfair to compare, but whatever, right? Whatever, there are various numbers, 40 million, 50 million, whatever the numbers. What happens to the linear TV attribution?
I mean, when you're talking about linear TV, there's a time tagging that takes place actually, because you know the exact time when the ad was placed. So some of the brands basically what they do is like they'll look at the uplift in terms of like pre-ad and post-ad for let's say 2 hours, 3 hours, or whichever time frame, depending on the objective that the brands are looking forward to measure their spend upon. So I think that is one of the things. If in case we are talking about out of home, then geo-tagging is something which is used very extensively. If in case you're walking towards Leela, you see a ad of let's say Kia Motors, you already know the latitude and longitude of Kia Motors. You know the person tracking on their phone, you know the exact location via GPS. So you can actually attribute maybe after, like 24 hours, 12 hours, or 3 hours, basically. So that is how we actually see.
Maybe a loud thought out here. I don't know if it already happens that way, but from a linear TV perspective, if you look at it this way, so today you have TV sync ads, right? Right? That's a technology whether your mobile phone will hear the jingle, jingle for a mobile phone because it can't see. in a similar fashion, it can be also be attributed, right? Somebody saw the ad and then he got converted, maybe a view through attribution, and you attribute it to that particular person. So many people saw your ad, and then it, like say today bark or a com score, everything is extrapolated data. This will be also, we will get a uh, good size of a sample which can then be extrapolated to the entire TG universe. I don't know, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong.
Sorry. That's actually how a lot of the single source panels work. The other interesting thing, right, when we were all talking, I think the attribution also takes, marketers have to be ready to invest in a little bit of technology to do it. And I don't, you do face resistance, right? So, because everyone wants to stretch the media budget. So, why should I? So, it becomes a little bit of a football, going with a football, ki who should pay, agency should pay, or you know, publisher should pay, or the two
Clients will
should
be paying.
Getting all the money. So great. Another very important question that I've always, thought through. I've not never got a concrete answer for the same. Is should we attribute it only for the short term, or should we also attribute for the long term? Do we not give, or another way to ask this question to be more clear is, how do you attribute for lifetime value?
So I can take this up.
Sure.
So when it comes to, like attributing towards lifetime value, so first thing is like we need to define the objective of the campaign or the spends that we are looking forward to basically plan. So one thing is like when we're talking about short terms, in that case, are we talking mainly about like just basically like optimizing on the cost? Are we talking about also calculating what is the effect of the branding campaigns, how long the branding campaigns would be live, what would be the period of the branding campaigns along with the performance campaigns in that case? So when we are talking about short-term attribution or short-term optimization of the campaign, so here we need to make sure, like what would be the effect? Is it just to control the cost and make sure, the relevant marketing channel gets all the attribution, or we need to combine it with the long-term campaign, which might be branding? So when we are talking about, let's say, branding plus performance, in that case, the best thing that happens is like when you're running them in parallel, that is the best approach, to be very honest, because with the branding campaign, you can see all the channels which might be just doing performance, they would get an uptick. But once you see over a period of, let's say, 1 month, 2 months, once the branding campaigns are off, you will see actually which is the performance campaign which is giving the actual ROI on the spends or the the KPIs that you're looking forward to optimize the campaigns upon. So yeah.
So, but does anybody look at it in this way that, see, if today you've got a conversion, that's okay. We know how we all attribute it or to last click, first click, or time decay, or whatever model that we use. But from a lifetime value perspective, do we, evaluate channels that, okay, this guy had come from a particular channel. Today he bought or not, did not buy or bought, and tomorrow he again buys. So from a lifetime perspective, which channel is more effective? And that's where the money goes.
we are actually doing that. So, there is not every kind of client or marketer is evolved or has the tools to do it, but through, maybe sometimes just a simple thing like a CRM, right? They use that to map it back. But again, that data needs to be available. Very few have that.
Again, I have an answer for that as well. So we have uninstall and reinstall tracking at Adjust, right? You can track everything, and channels do it, right? So to give an example, KPI benchmark as an option, we do give an option wherein user can actually track again till 4 levels, which is channel, even a creative, that okay, which was the creative which drove probably the maximum uninstalls or maximum reinstalls for a re-engagement campaign. So that is absolutely available, and marketers are doing it. In fact, we were actually offering it uninstall, reinstall as an add-on feature earlier, but basis, client's expectation, we have not put a package of all packages across, because it's a very, very important feature which has been used by brands, basically, especially when it comes to the app install bit of it. I'll just spend 1 minute here. There are a lot of, marketers, or I would say channels, who do a lot of incent-based campaign, wherein the uninstall ratio is relatively very high, right? And via this particular KPI, they can actually check to the publisher ID level. For example, let's say, XYZ company partner is running campaign, but he might not be the one who's actually running inside campaign, but there is a sub-publisher ID who's running it. They can actually check, go to that publisher ID that, okay, this uninstall ratio is very high, probably pause this, and then everything is sorted out. So it helps, and brands are absolutely looking at it right now as well.
One last question is, who should be responsible in an organization to drive the attribution agenda? Because the reason that I'm asking this question is that you can buy any tool in the world, you can buy any technology in the world, but if people don't embrace it, that transformation will fail. So, will it be the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, CIO, or the head of digital? Anyone? Or maybe we can open this question to the audience also if anybody wants to answer. Yeah.
As per me, I think it will change to company. In a smaller company, it might be a CEO who's doing every roles. Mostly, who we speak with are the growth managers to head of growth, head of digital. There are certain companies where product also plays a lot of role because there's a lot of development involved when it comes to attribution. There is some level of integration involved as well. So, and big companies, then the tech team also play a pivotal role there because it's a difficult task to actually go out and can change an attribution provider or do an integration. So it's different as per the scale of the company.
Yeah, so to add what Sujit is saying, tends to be a cultural thing. But I've also seen whether it's a small, medium, large organization, everyone has to be responsible for attribution. If it isn't, and the sales guy is trying to put it on the CTO, and the CTO is trying to put it on the CMO, then it's a kind of finished game from
You
the
mean
beginning.
to say it has to be driven from the top so that the behavior and the culture is embraced. Brilliant.
I
We're
mean,
at the
from my
end-
side, I would say like, irrespective of the title, if in case you don't understand the product or the data, you should not do the attribution. That's like the complement set of people who should not do the attribution, irrespective of the title, I would say, irrespective of the size of the organization as well.
So we're at the end of our 30 minutes and we'll open the floor for questions from audience, if any.
Ladies and gentlemen, the floor is now open for questions and answers. Allow me a moment, miss.
So hi everyone, this is Sudipta from Lenskart. So I have a question regarding, like, I know the discussion is happening around attribution, but I have a question regarding incrementality as a topic. So there is a concept that we are discussing that attribution is going to a certain platform or a certain channel, but what about the incrementality factor of it? So do you guys have any comments on it, and how
Could you
should we-
explain incrementality a little bit so that we can comprehend?
So basically attribution based on the model goes to various channels, right, depending on the models that we discussed. But then there might be, if even a person is coming, is supposed to come because it saw a previous Google ad, for example, but then at the end point Facebook ads come in, and then the last touch model, based on the last touch model, the attribution goes to Facebook, right? But then the expense that we did on Facebook ad might be non-incremental for that matter. So this is like there are multiple touch points. So where do we find the sweet spot that this is how much we should spend in order to get a incremental revenue out of it?
Thanks for asking this. I think I can surely take it up. Right. One, I think probably join later. I talk about a little bit about a product called Assists, wherein we can actually are already solving this purpose. Wherein if as a user you saw an ad 10 different times, right, via 10 different ads, Google, Facebook, blah blah blah, and for the last time you install the app via organically also, we will of course attribute this particular install to organic. But in the dashboard, there are two ways how you can see data. On the raw data, you can actually see the last 9 touches which a user did, so that you can then see. And also there's a dashboard called Assist, wherein you see that at a creative level also you can know that, okay, if X creative you ad actually drove how many installs for you. So you can actually see, and then basis that you can actually see that how many installs actually are driven by a specific matrix or channel, even though they were not the last click why it particularly happened. We're also launching a product called Budget Planner, which will also give you this idea, but we need at least 6 months of data wherein it will actually predict that, okay, though you're spending with 10 different channels, like for example, you said Facebook is one of the channels we are spending, but Google is probably driving installs for you. So it will automatically predict that, okay, going forward in the next quarter, you should spend this much with Google and this much with Facebook, because Google campaign are just giving you X amount of installs, wherein Facebook is giving you X amount of more installs at a lower cost as well. So it's already there with Assist. Incrementality probably will come more with a budget planner perspective. That answers your question? We can talk more if you want.
Well, I believe due to the
She's on
paucity of-
AppsFlyer, by the way. So she will have much more data, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. I want to talk about.
Due to the paucity of time, that will be all on the questions that we'll be taking as of now. Thank you very much, panelists. Could I please request you to kindly come up front for a group picture?